So welcome and settle. Sit well, however you want to sit, in a way that the spine can be lengthened and uplifted. Inner rotate the thighs. So I recommend a manual inner rotation where the inner thighs go down and you pull the buttocks flesh out. Just feels a sense of clearing in the sacrum because you've moved the thigh bones into optimum position. Close the eyes or cast the gaze down your cheeks. And come to your breath. And as you invite the breath to settle, you scan your physical body for any little quirks, aches, catches. You may not yet have discovered those if you haven't been moving around much this morning. We'll find them. And then your energy body, the sensing, feeling, the mood, your sense of body, mind, spirit connected. What's going on there? I usually like to just check in and best I can not make a judgment as a good feeling or a bad feeling, but do you feel more on the sluggish end of the continuum or more on the sort of energizer bunny on the other side or something in between? Just notice where you fall. It changes every morning. So we note it. And then you note any feelings or emotions that might be contributing to how your body is feeling. And note them, not to get in conversation with them. Just note, well, there's that. And then set your intention for your practice today. And it can be so simple. Remember, I have to remind myself of that. It can just be try not to fall off the mat. And that's about steadiness, about holding center with a sense of humor and easefulness. So it doesn't have to be big old yogi kind of terms. It can be just, I'm showing up. And that's huge. And then draw your palms together in front of your heart center. One soft Om, inhale. Release your hands, flutter your eyes open, stretch the arms up, make a fist and circle down as you lower the arms. Arms are slightly in front of you, not straight stuck out to the side. And then reverse the circle and go back up. And I realize as I'm closing my fist, I need to trim my fingernails. All right, make circles with the shoulders one way and then the other. And then with sort of soft fist right in front of you, go the blinky hands. Blink, blink, blink as forcefully as you can to increase circulation into the fingers. All right, come to standing. Cold mornings, it helps, although I really want to just start on the floor with a lot of blankets. That's called bed. But if we start standing, it begins to build the heat a little faster. So step the feet, your mat width apart or wider than hip width apart. Soften the knees, bend the knees, but pull the weight back in the heels so the knees aren't going so far forward. You're sticking the butt back a little bit. Yep, comfortable so you can be soft. And then do a nice hula hoop. Do it slow so you notice what's happening, as Tacky the Penguin says. One of my favorite children's books. So if you're looking for a book to give as a gift to a kid anywhere from 2 or 3 to, let's see, I've had 8 or 9-year-olds enjoy it. Tacky to penguin, it's a whole series. Reverse the circle if you haven't already. Keep the knees soft. So the tendency here is to like lock the knees and then bend and lock, but keep the knees the same way and just keep rocking and rolling. All right, add release. Straighten out, shake off. Feet about outer hip width apart. They can still be a little wider if you want that stability. Press down through the four corners of the feet. So that means you have these little tires on the feet. So press down evenly. We all have a favorite side that we tend to rock over to. See if you can balance that. Soften the knees, inner thighs move back, tailbone down to firm the core. And as you stand up, you will stand up straight, but be aware that you're not pressing the knees back and locking them. The legs straighten, but it's as though you're pulling the neoprene dive suit up. Stretch the arms overhead. The left hand grabs the right wrist and stretch over. Pull the bottom ribs in. They want to poke out really big. Oh, inhale, grab the other wrist, stretch it up and over. Inhale, press down to come up, lower the arms, stretch the arms out in a big hug, like a big hug the world hug, palms forward, and then cross the arms in front, big self hug. And inhale, slowly move them out, pulling the shoulder blades together, and then cross the other arm on top. So do this a few times really slowly. So this is a move that sometimes in the old calisthenics, they would do it fast, you know, the slap open. Well, that's not what we're doing. We're going in slow motion. Big hugs, pulling the shoulder blades off the back, pulling them on the back. All right, and shake off. All right, now come down to the knees. I recommend a pad for the knees. You can fold the blanket over multiple times or as it comes off the stack. So this is fairly simple move, but a little bit of a mini flow, as I call it. So if you go cow, so lift your sits bones, draw the heart forward, exhale cat, inhale back to cow, and exhale an easy dog. Just lift up into an easy dog. Come back down into cow, then round the back into cat, and then back to cow and dog. Just an easy dog, don't go into full out dog. Inhale, stretch forward, the heart goes forward. Exhale, regular cat, round the back. Inhale, back to cow, and exhale, dog. So do that a few times really slowly with the breath. Inhale fully, stretch it. So the inhale is usually the expand. The exhale is usually the contract or draw in. But my suggestion is to just keep the breath flowing. Holding the breath, not such a good thing. All right. And the next time you come down into table, pause there, take your blocks, and you can still use the blanket if you want to. You will have the right knee's on a block, the right hand is on a block, and the left leg is out straight, so you're in gate pose. Yep. If the block hurts, if you've got hard blocks, you can always put a blanket on top of the block. So Carrie, bring the block out off the mat to this. No, I'm sorry, your hand block. Your knee block is perfect. Nope, just out to this side. You're here, bring it back here, take it straight out. There you go, there you go. Now, how high the block is under your hand, it's really up to you. It just gives you, and you might say, well, I don't know. So as you do this, so Shelley, you want, change your hand. Everything else is perfect. Change the block. You know, your knee is fine. Put the knee there. Move the block to the other side. There you go. Come out off your bent leg knee. I know it's morning, right? Please don't ask me to do this. So it's an open twist. So first open, press the whole sole of the foot into the earth, heel, and particularly the outside edge to get a stretch on the outside of the foot. There, as best you can. So Shelly, if you bring your right leg more out to the side towards, there you go. That's right, it gives you a little bit more, so stretch it up. Now exhale, rotate just in the torso, the ribs, and reach underneath you. Inhale, slowly extend back and open up. Exhale, so keep your straight leg foot really grounded on the floor. That will keep you a little bit more balanced. So very sort of slow-mo. In and out. Oh, and around. All right, now you have to change the whole thing over to the other side. Same knee, same hand. I mean, the blocks are on the same side, knee and hand. There you go. I suggest also keeping the down knee, in this case, my left knee, the foot flexed, because it just helps give me a little more stability. But, you know, make yourself happy, whatever that is. There you go, you got it. Now, the legs are still working. So as I'm pressing into the straight leg foot, pulling the inner edge towards the midline, and the outer edge of the foot presses down, that helps to stabilize. Then scoop the tailbone and lift out. So the tendency is to stick the butt kind of behind us. So lift it up, even if, Shelly, that means you want to come up. So this gives you a lot more space to do a nice twisty thing. So exhale, just rotate in the torso, in the ribs. The hips are not going back and forth with you, and you come up. So you exhale under and inhale, expand. It's continuing. Oh. So rotation in the spine. Our spine's a miracle. It's a miracle construction. But we have to keep all the muscles around it happy and useful. All right, release. All right, so this is a weird, come to sit on your first side, the hip of your first side. So in my case, the right hip. One block, so right straight out from the hip. And if you want to carry, actually, I think, Shelly, both of you guys face me and sit on your hip. There you go. And have the block out. That way you'll have your mat, your feet on your mat as you need to. So the long edge of the mat is in line with your length here. All right. So when we lift up, I'll show this to you so you don't, especially at home, so you don't have to like look under your armpit and try to figure out what's going on. So my feet are just kind of evenly stacked. The knees are forward. And so what we'll do, this is sort of a weird asymmetrical thing. You'll press down into the hand, reach here, and come into a funny little dog. So it's like corkscrew. Back, and then back around. Over. It's like a little push-up on the hand on the block, right? It's like, no, it's hard. And Shelly, you got your second, did you get your second vaccine yesterday? No. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted you to take it easy if you're, okay. Have we had as much fun with that as we can stand? All right, switch to the other side. So you can either stay facing or go to the parking lot, whatever you want. Since you know what it is, you're good to go. Okay, so corkscrew up. Oh, the right hand goes back down. So the hands stay, you do put the hand down to help you. You can keep the, yeah, you can keep that hand, the left hand on the floor. Use it all that you need to, Shelly. Look, you're not trying to come up with a balance, you're actually using that hand. It can go flat down or fingertips down, whatever you want. But you see, you're getting this little workout on the hand on the block. as well as a little core work and some twisty stuff going on. That's a technical term, twisty stuff. I had to study a long time to be allowed to use the term twisty stuff. All right. Come back to your first side. Get your friendly terror band, as we call it, TheraBand. Slip the loop over your, I'm putting it over my left foot. So I'm not mirroring on the, for the camera here. We've had a discussion, it's just confusing everybody. All right, come back into the same, stacking the knees on top of each other, and the band comes over the top. Now, you may want, sometimes with my elbow on the ground, I like to pat it, but it's not required. So if your elbow's feeling particularly vulnerable. All right, come down onto your right elbow. So if you're on your right side, come onto your right elbow, pat it or not. And you'll be in long lines. So Shelley, you're a little bit here. You want to walk the elbow back in line with on the mat. There you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, stretch the band and hold it with the right hand. You can either press it down or hold it. And then take the left hand. This is just a little added resistance. The left hand then is going to push it down. So I'm really not holding a lot here unless I let up on this. Make sense? So with the inner edges of the feet together, a little clamshell with resistance. So it's then maybe a little harder to lift, but it will snap close quickly. So resist the closing as well. Oh. And you know, I do these in the beginning. It's like, oh, this is not that much, not like having the little circle band like you do at Pilates or bar or something. You do these enough, and you're engaging your glute, the buttocks muscle, and the core. All right. And then slide out on. Now you can have, if you want, Shelley, you can have the arm slightly in front of you and the head on a block, or you can rest your head on your arm, or you can bring a blanket on top of your arm under your head, but something so the head's not hanging down quite so far. Keep the bottom leg bent. And then again, you can either keep the band in the right hand, the straight hand, be your left hand, then that's okay, Shelley. Or if you want a little more resistance, you smack it down in the middle. Now stretch the top leg straight. It'll come off your leg here. And so you need a little more stretch in the band than that, Shelley. Make it harder. There you go. And this is, you know, I'm calling this kind of the yoga tick-tock. So stretch it slightly forward, slow, and then take it straight back with the leg in neutral. And if it comes forward and you give up too much, then you can tighten it on the forward, and then it super tightens it on its back and forth. And really reach back and engage the glutes. So slow, super slow tick-tock. And then we'll tick-tock the other way. So bring it to neutral so the leg is long, parallel with the long side of your mat. And inner rotate the leg and lift up from the back of the thigh and just lower straight down. Lift up and lower. Lift up. Ooh, feeling some burn here? A little bit, we'll get you. If you tighten up on your resistance, huh? Okay, Shelley's saying, okay, a lot. She'll make me do it 20,000 more times until I scream. Right, why you guys keep coming when I'm mean to you, I don't know. All right, and then keeping the hips as stacked on top of each other as you can, outer rotate, and with the, take hold closer to the foot. You can even, if you can reach the loop, you can pull into the loop, but It's not required, but notice a tendency now to roll back. So you roll back, the leg has to come a little farther forward. If you take the leg way back right over the hips, the tendency to roll back is strong. You can keep the bottom leg bent. That will help give you more stability. And then you just stretch, pull towards the head. Nice stretch. And you can slip it off the foot and change sides. So we start with, again, I'm a baby these days. I have to have everything padded. All right. So put it around the other foot. I'm kind of avoiding even left, right these days because it's just the other foot and then the other foot. All right. So the first one is a clamshell where the knees are forward of the hips and the feet are probably about in line with the hips. The band comes up and over the top thigh, the outside of the thigh, stretch it out and plant it down. So it's the top arm that's pressing down more, but the left one kind of helps as a secondary so you don't snap yourself in the foot. And then with the inner edges of the feet together, clamshell. So open the top knee with resistance and then don't let the band snap your legs closed. Use the core, scoop the tailbone, soften the shoulders and the jaw. This side always engages faster. And get my engaging, my euphemism is starts to ache faster. Unless you're used to doing 400 or 500 of these in bar class or something, then not so much. All right, let's do the TikToks. I like the head on the block because it keeps my neck in line with the spine, but you can rest it on your arm, anything. And then the bottom leg stays bent, the top leg straightens, and you press the band down with the palm of the hand. So it gives it more strength. Then you're tick-tocking forward and straight back. Forward, so the leg stays on the same plane and straight back. Oh, and when you go back, engage from the heel all the way up to the glute to give the glute a nice little squeeze. And the leg is still parallel, so neither turned out nor turned in, neutral. And then the next TikTok is up and down. So the leg is parallel, the straight top leg is parallel with the long edge of the mat. And then inner rotate a little bit. So roll the inner edge of the thigh back towards your back body and up towards the ceiling. Reverse it, Shelley. Inner edge of the thigh moves down and back. There you go. And lift from the back of the thigh. So you get a little more squeeze on the outer hip. So Carrie, inner rotate, don't let the leg outer rotate when you bring it up. So you won't bring it up so far. So really inner rotate, flex the foot. Inner rotate, that's outer rotate. Inner rotate means, look, like this. You're here, you're outer rotating. So yeah, we can get it way far up here, but it's not about how high you get it up, but whether you can lift the inner edge of the back thigh, like the inner thigh, the back thigh is trying to move up towards the ceiling. Yeah, there you go. It's like a pigeon toe. All right, I've had enough fun with that one. Oh, then the last one is now you can outer rotate and just give it a nice big pull, whatever you want, without rolling back. So if I lift too high, I roll back onto the back hip. So keep the hip stacked. The foot has to come a little farther forward in order not to roll back. The leg comes a little towards the front plane of the body and stretch it up. Good. And then take the strap off Bend your knees and push off. All right, come to standing. Find your weights or your cans. Okey dokes. Take a lunge, any lunge, choose your foot. We're going to change to the other side. The back heel is up. The feet need to be outer hip width apart. If you do tightrope, this is just making you play with balance. So your feet are wide enough apart, still staying hip width apart. Okay, bend the front knees where it comes just right over the knee. And yes, keep your back foot down, Shelley, for balance if you need to. So if balance is killing you and all you're doing is wobbling on your feet, you can spin the back foot down. We're just playing with balance here. With the weights at your shoulders, then tilt forward in one long line. So you're not rounding forward, you're just tilting forward and punch up towards the ceiling. So one long backslash, punch up. And you'll notice you have to press down with the heel of the front foot, inner and outer heel. Hug your outer front hip in. And you can be close to a wall or furniture if you want to have something to reach for. Oh. And release. Take a wide stance. Stretch the arms up. And just pause here. Pull the shoulder blades down and lift. Tailbone down, side ribs move back towards the back body. And then spin to the other side. Step the back foot up, out to the side. So you're not on a tightrope. Hands at your shoulders, weights at your shoulders. Tilt one long line, not a bent line, but one long line. And then push straight out in that diagonal. Right up by your ears. Oh. But the fact is, no matter where you punch out, you're getting some work. Press down on the front heel and hug the outer front hip in. Don't let it stick out to the side. I'm working up a little heat here. Anytime you have the arms overhead, you begin to work up some heat. All right, since I don't count, we're just guessing if you think you've evened that side out. Otherwise, do a few more. All right, now stand with a sort of semi-wide, just the outer hip width, not super wide. And so what we'll do is bend a little, but be sure you're not bending the knees forward. It's kind of like a little, almost a squat, not quite. And then slowly straighten and come to your tippy toes. Whew. And then slowly go down, take the hips back so you're not pressing the knees forward, and then up to tippy toes. I know it's harder than it looks. Well, actually it looks, I'm not doing it that stable. So find something to focus on when you come to tippy toes and come up and slowly lower. Press the hips back, press the shins back so the knees don't come way over the feet. So the weights are not really doing that much. You're just adding a little extra load. All right, shake off. So that's a really good one. That's what I call my grocery store workout. So you can be there holding on to, just lightly hold on to the thing, and you can just come to tippy toes and slowly with control lower. You don't have to bend the knees on that one because that does look a little weird in the grocery store line to be squatting here. But I find that just going slowly up and slowly down, most people aren't looking at me anyway. So there you have it. Take a wide stance, you can face me. There you go. Turn the toes out slightly, not hugely. And we'll start with one hand. So I'm lifting my left hand, just like holding the weight on my shoulder. The right hand is just down on the thigh, and we'll reach up and over. and come back. Inhale, reach it out and over, and exhale, come back. Inhale, reach it out and over, and back. One more, out and over. Do side B. Stretch it up and out, and you do a nice slow so you can feel what's going on. Slow-mo stretching. Oh, no. And so you're keeping the shoulders and the hips in line with each other, not turning the upper body down. Just like it's the only time I'll say in between two panes of glass. Don't use that for triangle or any of those other ones because we need that angle in the hip. And up. So those cans start to get a little heavy after a while, right? Put it up there on the tall pantry shelf and bring it down. Okay, release. All right, so keeping the wide stance. And when we bend the knees, be careful what will happen. Turn a little bit to the side. What will happen is people's knees will go, it looks something like this, like the knees start to go down. So you want to work the knees way out to the side and press up. So don't go down so low if it means your knees wiggle together. All right, so that's the action on the legs. Then on the arms, it's like a bicep curl. So as you go down, the arms straighten, or I don't care, you can do either one, and inhale, pull up, or you can reverse it, but in one point. Oh, keep pressing the knees out though. So don't go so far down that you hear that. No, it's not about sorry. I don't want you to stress the knees. Good, but engage the muscles. Press the knees way farther apart. Even, yeah, there you go. Nice. So I see this a lot. People are like really rolled in. You want to work to the outside edge of the feet. Nice, Gary. And of course, as soon as somebody, yeah, it's like I'm in class and somebody says, oh, that's great. And then I fall, so, all right. And then one more, standing. Get your block. And Shelley, if you want to come closer to the wall on this, if you need that. All right, step back a bit. So I'm going to start with the right foot on the block, and you can change it if you want. Then the back heel is up. The arms are just at the side, so we're not lifting the weights, they're just adding a little bit of load. And then as you bend straight down, so the front knee does not go farther forward. You're trying to take the back knee towards the floor and then straighten. Back knee, yes, you can just lose the weights and, whoa, that was a little farther away than I thought it should be. All right, back knee heads towards the floor, but pay attention to the front knee. Careful, and if the block bugs you, you don't even have to use the block. It's just the block, these soft foam blocks give us a little more mobility, like the foot's not quite as stable. So keep the front knee. So you're not bending the front, you're bending the front knee, but the shin is staying straight up and down. The back knee's going forward. Okay, enough of that. Change sides. Okay. Again, standing in tightrope with the back foot right in line with the front foot is very difficult balance, if not impossible. Keep the back foot out to the side a little bit. And then you're bending straight down. The front knee is not coming farther forward. Nice. Okay. Keep pressing into the heel of the front foot. You should start to feel this in your quadriceps, your hip flexors. Probably a little faster to say where I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it in my ears, my gums. And the arms aren't really doing anything. They're quiet, but the weight is just adding a little load to the legs. You do this slowly with control. Slower is harder. When we go faster, we end up using momentum. And the muscles sometimes don't get a chance to really fully and clearly engage. And slowly can work on our brains too. It's like, I'm so bored, I want to go. I'm that way. I'm just like, boom, boom. All right, get your weights and keep your weights rather, and come down to the floor. I like to sit on at least a little bit of blanket, not required, but it's kind of nice just so that the sits bones don't have to roll back and forth. Yeah, or you're flexible enough that you don't have to sit on the bolster if you don't want to. Just, yeah, I like it. You feel good. All right, so here's the deal. This is we kind of call this kayak pose, like you're sitting in a kayak, right? And rowing, lifting up and just tilting back a little bit. Now pull the belly button back. So we're not rounding back, but you're scooping back. Yeah, it's a little bit, you'll fall off. All right, so you're pulling the belly button in, but trying to lift the back waist up a bit. And then with the weights come together. So it's, I think, don't they call this a fly in regular workout? So you're the weights come right at your heart center and then they stretch out. So you're squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other when you're opening the arms. So you see again the action of the shoulder blades, but keep the core. If you're feeling this in your neck, it probably means your core just quit on you. So come up and give it a break and do it again. Okay. And then release. Keep that. I'm just going to move this side. And then as you tilt back, and one of the things, I've done this before, if you put a block back there and you tilt back, not so much to lean, but that tells you that's it. That's how far you want to go. So some people, Carrie, you're stronger. You may want, just make sure you're not straining anything, okay? I mean, don't go cray-cray, honest. But this, sometimes you have those, like the Pilates balls or the bar balls, that's kind of what you would tuck back there. That's that same feeling if you've ever done that. All right, now for this one, stretch forward like you're driving a car, but lift the chest. You know, it's like tenses the driving cat, right? That's old. And then exhale, slowly bring the weights to one side and pause there. Engage the obliques. That's the side muscle that's screaming a little bit. And then inhale, slowly lift up and lower to the other side. Pause here. So we're used to doing this in exercise classes that go way, way faster, but I just find I have to engage so much deeper in a slow hold, and it makes my mind eventually calm down. So one more each side. So hold. And how much you twist depends on your body, but notice if your knees come with you or the hips start to wobble. So the knees stay right where they are, and you just twist the upper body. Whew. Feeling this yet? Okay, Shelly's learned. All right, I know it's taken her a few years, but she's learned to say yes really quickly. All right, big wide butterfly, diamond, nada, Baddha Konasana, soles the feet together and stretch forward. Nice. All right, so remember the funny corkscrew dog we did at the beginning? We're going to take it to another absurd level if you want. So the corkscrew dog, the hand was on the block or off the block, but it was just coming here, right? But if you want to play with it to the next level, you'll do the same thing, only I suggest having the top foot forward a bit. I was having it behind, I was catching myself. You come up and you scoop under yourself. So do regular corkscrew dog with both, Shelly, keep both hands down as you do it. So just do this. Just try to come to dog and here. But if you want to do the scoopy thing underneath, Do that and come down. More. And change sides. That's fun, right? Uh-huh. See how fast she is, Carrie? See how she's learned? It's what, been 4 or 5 years that we've taught you to? We opened 5 years ago, so we had a 5-year lease. Yeah.
I came that January.
No, it was September. So you came that January. Yeah, so you've been here a long time. All right, come on up. So you can either do regular, just coming into dog and back, stretching open, stretching closed, or the thread the needle twisty doggy thing. And back, just the getting up and down is enough, right? It's like doing little push-ups with one arm. And one more. Unless you feel like you need another one on that side. Like, yeah, we're giving up. Okay. Take a block, come into child's pose. You can do it on a blanket if you want. And the child's pose so we often for relaxing have the knees wide apart, but for this one, have the knees closer together. They don't have to be super close together. First, just without the block, perch up on your spider fingers and stretch back. The head's not dropping down. Keep the head in line with the arms, with the spine, so you're not dropping the head too low, and stretch back. Oh, I'm still tight on one side. And lift up, take your block, walk it over to the left. Place your right hand on the block. Walk your left hand back to bend the elbow and push into the hand. And then stretch. So you're pressing your right hand into the block and stretch your right hip, outer hip back. Should be a nice stretch across the low back, side body, triceps. And the head doesn't dive down, it just stays in line with your arm. It's not dropping too far below, not below your shoulders much at all. And then come back to center and just take a regular one to the center and notice if there's any difference between the two sides. And then inhale, walk the block off to the right. Put your left hand on the block, slide your right hand back towards the knee. You can either place the whole hand on the floor or the ridge tops, fingertips. Press the left hand hard into the block. So the inner arm, the armpit, the left armpit lifts, and then stretch the left hip back. And yes, so Shelly's doing an open puppy, which is absolutely, if it hurts your knees to come back, then you come into an open puppy. Oh, where the hips are over the knees. You still get that same juicy, delicious stretch. Press the hand down into the block and the outer hip moves back of the same arm. Same arm, same hip. And release. Come to lie on your back. Keep the block nearby. Lie all the way on the back. Come into beach babe arms where the hands are behind the head. And the knuckles of your hands are touching the floor, but there's not a lot of weight in them. So they're touching the floor. The hands are cradling the head so the neck does not have to work to stay up. And come into anatomical neutral on the back. So it means tilting your sits bones towards your heels so your back waist arches away from the floor. Keep that and then draw the belly button down towards the back waist. And the back waist comes a tiny bit closer to the floor, but still keep some air between your back waist and the floor. Not a lot, you don't want to overarch, but you also don't want to flatten the back down because the low back has a natural curve and we want to honor that, protect that. If we try to flatten it, we're reversing it and squeezing the front of the disc
on that part of the spine more than they need to be squeezed. It also is a little harder here. Now slide your side ribs towards the floor, and the back waist will want to come with you, but give a little resistance in the back waist.
Does that make sense, Carrie? That may be different than what you've been taught in other things.
Yeah, so what happens is, in fact, you can feel it. I like to do this. Press your back waist all the way into the floor like you're doing a tuck. So the sits bones kind of start to lift. They don't lift, but they start to angle up towards the ceiling. And notice that, yes, I'm using my front core, but I'm not using the back. So as you tilt now the hips, the sits bones towards the heels where the back waist arches, then you pull the belly button down to the spine, and it's like you're cinching your corset all the way around. You're making the back muscles work as much as the front. And that's what we want, is a balance there. And then come to your tippy toes and draw your right knee in and just turn your right armpit towards, your left armpit towards the right knee. So you're not so much trying to pull your head up. So you're not pulling it up. You're still keeping length in the neck. It's just a turn. You're rolling more towards your right shoulder blade. The left shoulder blade starts to get a little air under it. And then slowly change, real super slow, like quadruple slow that you normally do. So you're not doing a huge lift, but you're being aware that your low back is not changing in relationship to the floor, that you're keeping it, the core, the belly button down, and it's a super slow mo. So not about pulling the head forward, but trying to lift the armpit towards the knee. And they're not coming that close to each other. So it's different than, it's like a super slow and controlled motion from when in other kinds of exercise classes, you tend to do super fast. And it makes the core really, it makes you realize where you give up on the core. And then the next time you come center, release, windshield wiper. And again, come to flat on your back, feet on the floor. Come to anatomical neutral, which means your back waist is off the floor. Belly button tries to drive the back waist to the floor, but the back waist resists. It comes a little closer, but not much. Squeeze the side waistline in. So front, back, side are hugging in like you're cinching a tight belt around your waist. Side ribs move towards the floor. Bottom ribs, front ribs move towards the hips. Really engage the upper core. The block goes between the knees. And then lift the knees just over the hips without changing anything in the back. Shoulder blades are on the back. So you can kind of lift a little bit and scoot them under you. Back waist, you'll feel it wobbling. It'll go down to the floor and up to the floor. Try to keep it as steady as possible and the belly button dropping down. You can keep the heels close to the bum. You're gently squeezing the block, not trying to flatten it, but just make sure you know it's there. Or you can flex the feet and come into a fallen over chair pose. Again, as soon as you lift the feet, the tendency to drop the back waist is strong. It means you're letting go of half your core. So hug it in, all 360. Arms can be out to the side and shift your weight over to your right sacrum. The left one peels just a tiny bit off the floor, enough to slide some paper under there. It's not about going over way far, because you'll notice now if you move the knees to the right a little bit, the right back waist comes to the floor. Lift it off more and pull your inner left belly back towards the floor, towards the left, as though you're trying to put your left sacrum down on the floor, but it's not going. And then inhale your way back to center. Keep the back waist off. It's a lot of work, actually. Wimpy abs, we call them. Now just shift your weight to your left bum and notice that the left side of the back waistline comes closer to the floor.
Try to pull it up. You may not get it off the floor, but you're doing your best to pull it up as the belly button moves down, side ribs move towards the floor. And the inner right belly now tries to pull back to keep you from tilting too far to the left, and come back to center and lower. Release the block. With the knees bent, feet on the floor, we'll do this nice psoas quadricep stretch. Open the right knee into butterfly. So just the right knee leans out. Travel the right foot under the bridge of the left leg all the way across, so the right thigh comes more parallel to the long edge of the mat. The right knee is pointing down towards the short edge of the mat. Again, you can hold on to the right foot with the left hand, or just let it be where it's going to be. And from the core of the pelvis, stretch out through the right thigh, and the right knee is trying to reach for the short edge of your mat. And the outer right knee, the outer right thigh is trying to move down towards the floor to open up more. And notice here, what happens is that I'm overarching the back. So we want to keep the little curve, but not a super arch. And particularly I'm arching on the left side. So pull the left side of your belly button down even more. And then an option, only an option, the sole of the left foot can rest on the inner right knee to give it a little weight, not to push it down. And then the right knee pushes back up against the sole of the foot, even as the outer edge of the outer right knee might go closer to the floor. And then as soon as I do that, I realize my left side waistline popped way up. So pull it down on the left side more. And I feel when I try to do that, to pull my side left ribs down towards the floor, I feel a bigger stretch across the front of the hip flexor there. This is one of my favorite stretches, Carrie. So and come back out. You can windshield wiper, rock your sacrum back and forth. So it's like the things where we do standing, but it's easier on the knees when people have knee issues. And now both knees up. The right knee is staying straight up. Don't let it get lazy and rock over. Butterfly out, the left knee out to the side, and then travel the left foot under the bridge of the right leg until the left thigh comes as parallel with the long edge of the mat as you can. The knee is pointing to the short edge. You can hold on to the foot or not, totally optional. Stretch from the core of the pelvis all the way out through the left knee. The left knee is moving towards the short edge of the mat, and the outer left knee is moving towards the floor. And then notice I'm overarching on the right side. So pull the right side ribs down and the inner right belly back to the right. Option is to weight the inner knee with the right foot. So the right foot just rests on the inner left knee. And it gives it a little bit stretch, not too much. And once you say too much, push the left knee back up into the foot just a tiny bit to give some resistance. Try to get the right side waistline back closer to the floor. Keep the left back waistline slightly lifted away from the floor. Big stretch. And then unwind. And pull both knees in, Apanasa, or like a reclining child's pose. And do a quick happy baby. You can either hold behind the thighs with the shins straight up and down, or the arms on the inside of the knees and the fingers on the outside of the foot, and pull down. Now try to get your low back curve back up, but just try to push the feet into the hands so the back waist gets a tiny bit lighter away from the floor. Mine won't peel off the floor, but it's not heavy on the floor. And then any other movements you want to do before final relaxation, stretch it out. Find your place. Oh, wrap up as you need to, pull a blanket over you if you want, and breathe. Begin to deepen your breath. Or Eileen at home, if you want to take a longer Shavasana, stay at it. And if you're waking up, wake up gradually, stretching the arms and legs like you would if you were waking up leisurely from a nap on vacation, and roll to your side and rest there for a few moments, gathering in the benefits of your practice. And then slowly roll towards the floor. Use the strength of your arms and come to your sitting position to sit well. And pause a moment. Come back to where we started. Notice any shifts and changes in the physical body and your energy body. Draw your palms together in front of your heart center. We'll end with a namaste, an honoring of our light, the light of others, the light in the universe. Namaste. Thank you, guys.